This is another sign of the times, an analysis and a commentary. Hurricane Sandy costs New York and New Jersey at least $71 billion. New York State and New Jersey need at least $71.3 billion to recover from the devastation wrought by Superstorm Hurricane Sandy and prevent similar damage from future storms, according to the latest estimates. The total, which could grow, came as New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said the state will need at least $41.9 billion, including $32.8 billion to repair and restore damaged housing, parks, and infrastructure, and to cover lost revenue and other expenses. The figure also includes $9.1 billion to mitigate potential damage from future severe weather events. Neighboring New Jersey, which saw massive damage to its transit system and coastline, suffered at least $29.4 billion in overall losses, according to a preliminary analysis released by Governor Chris Christie's office. The preliminary cost estimate includes federal aid New Jersey has received so far. By some measures, Sandy was worse than Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, which tore into the U.S. Gulf Coast in 2005. Sandy destroyed 305,000 houses in New York State, a still provisional number that's likely to grow, compared with the 214,700 destroyed by Katrina and Rita. Sandy also caused nearly 2.2 million power outages at its peak in the state, compared with 800,000 from Katrina and Rita, and impacted 265,300 businesses, compared to 18,700. While Hurricane Sandy may have damaged more homes and businesses, Katrina took a far greater toll on human lives, taking more than 1,800 people, directly or indirectly. Sandy, by comparison, is believed to have taken at least 121 people. Hurricane Katrina got a lot of notoriety for the way government handled or mishandled, depending on your point of view, the situation. But considering the dense population of the area Sandy impacted and costs to the economy, housing, and businesses, the damage done was much larger in Hurricane Sandy than in Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Sandy made landfall in New Jersey on October 29th. It blasted through the northeastern United States, devastating homes, forcing evacuations, crippling power systems, and shutting down New York City's subway system for days. The total cost to the region is still not known, as estimates of the damage, as well as future repair and prevention costs, continue to come in from states, cities, and counties. Sandy also damaged at least 230,000 vehicles in the area. New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg said he will ask Congress for $9.8 billion to pay for Sandy costs not covered by insurance or other federal funds. In a letter to New York's congressional delegation, Bloomberg said public, private, and indirect losses to the city from the devastating late October storm stood at $19 billion. Of that, private insurance is expected to cover $3.8 billion, with Federal Emergency Management Agency reimbursements to cover at least an additional $5.4 billion, Bloomberg said in a statement. The city will still need the additional $9.8 billion to help pay for costs that FEMA does not cover, like hazard mitigation, long-term housing, shoreline restoration, and protection efforts. Whatever the final tally, officials are beginning to pressure Congress for federal assistance. Getting federal funds could be a tough fight because of pressure on lawmakers to cut spending and raise taxes in order to shrink the federal deficit. This will be an effort that lasts not weeks, but many months, and we will not rest until the federal response meets New York's deep and extensive needs, said U.S. Senator Charles Schumer in a statement. Earlier estimates had pegged the total amount of damages for the region at $50 billion, with about $33 billion of that incurred in New York State. In New York City, Bloomberg said that the city had about $4.8 billion of uninsured private losses, $3.8 billion of insured private losses, and $4.5 billion in losses to city agencies. Reconstructing the city's damaged roads alone could cost nearly $800 million, Bloomberg said. New York City, a financial and tourism center, also lost about $5.7 billion in gross city product, he said, included in the New York governor's nearly $9.1 billion of mitigation costs, or what he called common sense actions, like flood protection for the World Trade Center site, roads, subway tunnels, and sewage treatment plants, as well as power generators for the region's fuel supply system and backup power for healthcare faculties. In other words, Hurricane Sandy was a massive destructive storm that destroyed hundreds of thousands of homes and many businesses, and also destroyed or damaged hundreds of thousands of vehicles, and will cost many billions of dollars, making Superstorm Sandy, in terms of monetary damage and destruction, one of the most costliest in history. And this too is another sign of the end of times as we know them, transition days, which is a time of extraordinary changes, happenings, and events. Because, again, it's about what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations? And that should be a very important question to ask. Luke chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. 26. Humans' hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. 27. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. Revelation chapter 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, but thou should give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. 19. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings, and voices, and thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail. It's time for prophecy to be fulfilled. Everything is connected, and everything is numbered, and all these are more signs.